Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Beards and Bitcoins, a crypto podcast for the man's man with your host BitBoy and J Chains. What's up, Lynn? You are a super fan. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what you hear. Also, you can rate and review on iTunes. We surely appreciate all your support. If you have any questions, if you got any interview requests, you can always shoot us an email, info@beersandbitcoins.com. In today's episodes, we're going to catch up with the man of all miners, Crypto Christopher Walken. Dude is so awesome. He knows his stuff. Ben and I are actually going to set up a real mining rig. We're going to hear all about that. But before you do, here is a quick word from the show sponsor, Monarch Wallet. Not your keys, not your crypto. I'm sure you've heard by now that with the Monarch Wallet, you own the keys to your financial castle. We're bringing the best of all crypto services in one place, the Monarch Wallet. Send, store, and receive thousands of cryptocurrencies. Also, qualified people can buy and sell and earn up to 7.1% interest on their crypto. The decentralized Monarch Wallet has a built-in decentralized exchange, so you can quickly swap tokens right from your wallet. If that wasn't enough, it has a portfolio tracker, among many other features. Check out the website for more info today, monarchtoken.io.
Everyone, welcome back to the Beards and Bitcoins podcast. This is the crypto podcast for the man's man, because we ain't no sissies around here. So listen, that's right. Kiss them guns. That's right. Everybody, kiss your guns. Load up your guns. We got a huge episode for you today. Today is the Beards and Bitcoin mining spectacular.
Oh, man, it's going to be so special and the spectacular.
Let me tell you, grab your pickaxe because it's going to get dirty up in here.
Yeah. Because we're not talking about man mining. We're talking about crypto mining. Nerd mining.
Right. Sorry, we're talking about nerd mining today. You know, the funny thing is, J Chains, is that in my outside of crypto life, like you guys know, like I got a football helmet business. I have, I have a ticket business that I actually just closed down, but I had that for years. Like, believe it or not, like I have a life outside of crypto. It's really hard to believe. And the funny thing is, people think that I'm a nerd because I'm in crypto. What the heck? Can you believe that?
What the heck, man? No, that ain't cool.
Imagine me being a nerd. Do you see how much beef jerky I've gone through today? Let me tell you, my wife has given me 5 packs of beef jerky, a bison stick, and 2 freaking giant Slim Jims, and I downed them all, man.
Hey, not one of those things was a pocket protector. Jeez, a pocket protector or a calculator. Nerd.
That's right, nerd. So, anyways, guys, yeah, we're the crypto podcast for the man's man. But today we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk, instead of talking about man mining, which is a real pickaxe, dirt on your face. In the mines of West Virginia, you never know when there's going to be a dead canary or there's going to be a cave collapse and you're going to be stuck in a Chilean mine for 33 days with 32 other dudes. You're not going to have to worry about any of that today, because today we're talking nerd mining.
Nerd mining. I don't know about you, man. I actually do know, but for the sake of making the show more exciting, I don't know. I don't know what you know about mining. Me, I run Honey Miner. That's the extent of my knowledge. That is it. That's all that I know. It's real easy. I've got 3 old computers around my house. They just sit and stack sats all day long.
Stack sats. That's right. And they got it for Mac. So you guys can, download the Honey Miner. They got it for Mac. But it's a robust program. It's going to take up some space on your computer. So I wouldn't suggest running it on a computer that you use every single day.
No, that's what I got. So my wife and I both got new computers a few months ago, and then we had an old computer from an old employee, and so I just set those things up on the shelf in my office, man, and they just run. And so I don't do anything else with them. I've actually deleted every file off of all these other computers, all the programs. The only thing they run is the Honey Miner.
That's right. I like it.
Yeah. Finally, the other day, I've only been doing this for a couple months, but I finally hit, I think I'm like right now, I'm like 130,000 sats, but that was
Holy crap. That's like $4.
I know. It's so exciting.
I have
but
no idea how much that is. How much is that worth, you know?
I don't.
Well, if a Bitcoin
sats in a Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's 100 million, and you just hit 100,000, then that's like $10, I think, maybe $13. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe my math is way off on that. I don't know.
And these are older, and these are, these computers, they don't, it's not like they've got super high performance parts, and my GPUs and CPUs, like they're not blowing this out of the water, but it's working. And I have not actually seen an increase on my electricity bill, which I think is the most fantabulous part, is that, if you were to have a couple $1,000s in your savings account, you might make a couple pennies every month. This is better than a savings account. That's not really costing anything, and it's making money.
Yeah, man, that's definitely good when you can do that. I do have a fact check update on my how much is 130,000 Satoshis. Do you remember the number that I said?
$10 or $11 or something.
I said 13.
13.
It's $12.35. I'm just saying, I'm pretty good. I know my numbers.
Pretty good, but if it was The Price is Right, you would not have won the Showcase Showdown because everybody's
gonna think I'm a nerd now for sure. Let me tell you,
nerd.
I feel like I just keep really. I'm gonna tell you guys something kind of funny. Now we do have, before I get into that, king of the nerd mining today. Of course, no disrespect to him. We love this guy. We're joking about nerd mining. Obviously, it's crypto mining we're talking about. But we do have special guest Crypto Christopher Walken on the show today.
Nice.
To talk about nerd mining. And I've met him before, and he also is not a nerd, but he knows about nerd mining. So
I think we met him at the same place, Chicago, right?
We did. That's right. Hey, I met him the same time I met you, and I chose you for my podcast partner. Now, I don't think you would have been my podcast partner anyways, but just so you know, I want you to feel special, Jay Chains.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. That makes me feel real good.
Well, the truth is we chose each other for life.
Oh. Yeah.
That sounded a little weird. Oh no. What are people thinking about us? Dragon Vipers. Okay, listen. So back to the story. So I've had a really hard time in my life getting up in the morning. Can you relate to this? Or are you an early riser?
I'm an early bird.
I can't do it. I don't get up before 10 a.m. most days. I mean, and that's really early for me, honestly. I mean, some days by the time I get out of bed, like it's 11, 11:30, whatever. You know what though? I had a teacher when I was a freshman in college. That was when I went to Kennesaw State here in Georgia for 3 years, and I got 1 credit. It was in soccer. But that's a whole different story. So I had a teacher there, and I remember like I went in I guess she was a professor or whatever since it was college. I was late every day, and she said, "You know what? I'm not going to tell you what time to be here. You're not even in trouble for being late. If you can take the test and pass everything, I don't even care." She said, "But what you need to learn from this is you just need to own your own business. You can't work for anybody else." And I was like, dang, that's true.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And you know what? I really seen that in my life. Like, I like being able to sleep in. However,
but I think you stay up late. I don't mean to cut you off there. Sorry.
Yeah,
but I've seen that you post content pretty late. I know some of it you can do on a schedule, but on the tweets and some other stuff, I've seen some late night stuff come out. So I know that you're working. You're like we've said it before. You're like the James Brown of crypto videos. You hardest working guy we got. And you are up all hours of the day and the night, burning candles at both ends, getting that content out. So I think you could sleep in a little late. It's okay.
Well, it's true. However, I recently went to San Francisco, follow up on our Tron video from last week, or Tron podcast from last week. It turns out the whole thing really, in my opinion, is the U.S.-China trade war actually drove that lunch getting canceled. Did you watch that video I put out?
I did, man. I did. That was
yeah.
Speaking of nerds, Jay's son is a nerd.
But yeah, so yeah, it was cool, like to get to interview him and stuff. I try to stay neutral and unbiased on the video, whatever. But anyways, when I was out there around Ivan on Tech, Crypto Zombie, FUD TV, Crypto Beatles, our friend from Monarch that sponsors the show. So many other YouTubers, Crypto Indio, obviously, and being around a lot of those guys. Also, Altcoin Daily, which I met, they're twins. They're awesome. Yeah. I really like those guys. I had not watched their channel before. I maybe had heard of them, but definitely interested to watch their stuff now. They're awesome guys. But the interesting thing is I had a conversation with one of the guys, and he was just like, "Man, if you really want to get that worm, you got to get up in the morning, man. You got to get up early and get the grind." I really listened to him, man. And so ever since I got back, this is leading into a great nerd story. Ever since I got back, I've been getting up. The latest I've slept in since I've been back is 8 o'clock. And that was today because last night I didn't get back from my helmet business till like 2 a.m. or whatever. But I've been getting up at 7. I'm planning on getting up at 6 tomorrow. I've been getting up. I've been working on a website. I got a brand new BitBoy Crypto website that I'm putting news articles on and different stuff. But the point is, I had to come up with a way to get up early because I just can't do it. I can't get up early in the morning. It's not my thing. I found the world's greatest alarm clock.
Oh, talk to me about this.
Okay. So what it is in the morning to turn the alarm clock off, there's no way to turn it off without maybe deleting the app. You have to solve math problems. You have to solve 3 math problems. And let me tell you, they range from easy to very difficult. And I've been on easy's probably a little too easy for me, so I'll probably move up to the normal. But the normal is hard. Like, think about this. When you first wake up in the morning and you have to roll over to turn your alarm clock off, you have to answer what is 76 times 7 plus 48.
Oh, no, thank you.
Let me tell you, that's normal. That's the normal one. The hard is outrageous. But think about that. You also only have a very small amount of time to solve it. It's got a timer that's going down. You got like maybe 20 seconds. Now, I did find a little trick where if you touch a key, it'll start it over. So if you're touching something, then it'll start the timer over. But
the alarm's still going off?
Yes, the alarm is still going off. And the only way, or what it does is, this is what I want to say. I know this is super nerdy that I'm doing this, but it's because it's the only way I can get up in the morning, because there's something about when you first wake up, having to put your brain into math, not like the math I usually do, which is like, how many times can I hit the snooze button before I wake up, but actually like to mechanically think about, how to do math in the morning. It does something to your brain. You can't go back to sleep after you solve it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So it's been very awesome for me, but it's been really crazy trying to get used to it. But it's the only alarm clock in my life I've ever had. Because it doesn't matter what the sound an alarm clock makes is, because all I do is hit that snooze button immediately. There's no snooze button on this thing. Now, you can set it up to have a snooze button if you want, but once you have it set and you go to sleep, there's no change in it when you wake up, unless you wake up 1 minute before the alarm goes off, which I did actually one time.
Then you can say like, no, I'm awake, and then you turn it off.
Yeah.
But then you go right back to sleep.
Then you just turn it off before it goes off. Well, you could do that, but I mean, it takes pretty much luck, I would think, to wake up the minute before your alarm clock goes off. Like, isn't that the worst? Have you ever done that?
Yeah. I mean, that's just that's how I am though. So I'm an early riser, but so if I have an early flight, one of those things that like, if I got to get up at 3 to take a flight, my body will be like 2:30, time to get up. There's something you got to be up for.
Did you say you had a dentist appointment?
No, like a flight.
What time did you say though?
Oh, if I like to take the first flight out.
Didn't you say tooth hurty?
Hardy.
That was my go-to dad joke for years, until actually your wife blessed me with a new dad joke, and I have used that pretty much exclusively as my signature dad joke.
That's good.
What did 0 say to 8?
Nice belt.
That's right, nice belt. My kids are starting to really hate the dad jokes. They're calling them uncle jokes now. I don't know why. Yeah, they hate them so much. They call it, Dad, that's not even a dad joke. That's an uncle joke. My kids are like 4, 6, and 7, so it's not good.
Is it bad? Is it worse to be an uncle?
I don't know what it. I always do this thing like today, like, I do the classic dad joke of like, Daddy, I'm hungry, and I say, well, hello, hungry. My name's Daddy. Nice to meet you. And I shake their hand, And my daughter hates that joke so much. She's 6. She hates it so much that today when she heard it, she goes, Dad, that's annoying. I hate that joke. I was like, man, come on, And then my other son chimed in, Dad, that's just an uncle joke. I was like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with these kids?
Man, that's cold-blooded.
The question may be, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, that's fair.
Time for an intervention.
Time for an intervention and an interview.
Today's show, we have Crypto Christopher Walken from Twitter. I think his Twitter is at Crypto Chris W, I think is his Twitter. But we'll have him give you the official handle for that. So we're about to get into our interview with him. But first, we have a word from our show sponsor, Monarch.
Monarch Wallet. Monarch Wallet is the complete crypto solution, a crypto-driven ecosystem that gives you the power to control all aspects of your financial kingdom right from the palm of your hand. The Monarch Wallet is the only app to offer the amount of utility, functionality, security, and capability all in one place for the users, which again is you, to easily manage all aspects of your digital asset and financial lives. To learn more about Monarch Wallet, please visit their website, monarchtoken.io. Great company, great product. Thank you for the support.
Great on-ramp for getting money into crypto. You know, I do believe they take credit card transactions or at least debit card transactions to, you know, be able to get your money into crypto without using Coinbase. I know a lot of people hate Coinbase. They're always looking for alternatives, and monarchtoken.io could be that alternative. Plus, do you know Brian Armstrong? Do y'all know Brian Armstrong from Coinbase? Does he come and talk at events? Does he come and talk on our podcast? What's the answer to that question? No, but who does? Robert Beatles, Crypto Beatles,
Monarch. Speaking
token.
of, before we get to Christopher Walken, really quick about Coinbase, two things. One, have you heard that like everyone's jumping ship? And have you seen like all the buzz for all the people that got the IRS notices from, I think they're Coinbase and Gemini users?
I haven't gotten one, which is interesting. I've been using Coinbase probably for longer than 99% of people in crypto, I would think. Maybe 95%. I've been using Coinbase for a long time, way before the bull run. So I haven't gotten one, which is a little interesting. I'm anticipating getting one, but I haven't received one yet. Yes, I have heard the buzz from that. And a lot of people think that is why the price of Bitcoin dropped over the last week before bouncing back yesterday and today, while we're recording this on Wednesday. So who knows what it'll do tomorrow or whenever you're listening to this. But, you know, a lot of people think that had something to do with the price drop. But in terms of the other thing you asked me about, which was the Coinbase buzz, I don't know anything about that. I'm not sure why people are, but I actually had a friend of mine who is in crypto, but he's not like in crypto like we are, you know. He definitely invests and he pays attention, but he's not, you know, like exclusively on crypto Twitter and stuff like that. He said he was moving all his stuff off Coinbase. And so what is the buzz about that? I didn't know he might have been referencing something larger.
No, I don't know, other than possibly, you know, the tax things and kind of just, I feel like it's just too centralized. Yeah, maybe, you know, like they just have too much control, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I can do complicated multiplication and addition problems in the morning, but during the podcast, I can't put 2 and 2 together because I understand why you asked that now. Those things are related. Like people would be wanting to move off Coinbase because, you know, and that's why when people are doing their crypto taxes and things like that, you know, if you've been using Coinbase, let me tell you, they got all the information. So they got it all. If you've been using other, you know, ways and means, then, you know, there might be a way you can skirt around some laws and hide, you know, evade some taxes.
This is not financial advice. Don't pay attention to anything we're saying right now.
Oh, that's what J-Chain said. No, I'm telling y'all to do that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Somebody don't take that clip out. But all right, guys, we're going to go ahead now. We're going to go to this interview. We're going to talk to Crypto Christopher Walken about mining. We're going to answer all the questions that you ever wanted to know. And this is going to be like Idiot's Guide to Mining because I don't really know much. I know you don't know much. And there's a lot of stuff, you know, in the world of mining. And we're going to get it from probably one of what I would consider the foremost mining experts out there. So here we go. Interview with Crypto Christopher Walken.
Oh.
You don't have to show that part. You can cut that. Want a first question with him?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
All right. We are joined today by Crypto Chris Walken.
Can we start over because I feel like my voice is going to bleed into yours there.
Yeah.
Because I was talking and then you like I told you to start and you started, but like I just want to make sure there's like 2 or 3 seconds so we have a good cut point. We never stop once we start recording. So okay.
Was that long enough for you?
Screw you, man. I'm trying to help you out, man, to make you sound great. I'm done. I'm not gonna say a word, so you just pick a time and go.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Beards and Bitcoins. We are joined today with Crypto Christopher Walken. We are going to be talking mining. This is pretty much an idiot's guide to everything you need to know. Chris, how are you doing, my man?
Good, man. Glad to be on. It's been a while. I know we met up in Chicago last year, so good to reconnect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you just got back from a mining conference. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, it was a nerd symposium. It was amazing.
It's perfectly nerd mining. Love it.
Love it. So what was the name of that conference and where was it?
It was Mining Disrupt in Miami. It was pretty sweet. I mean, like I said, they had all the ASIC manufacturers, all the big pools. They had a bunch of people making custom miners, custom cases, FPGAs. It was a lot to take in. It was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Awesome. You're a Florida guy, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm around
Oh,
Jacksonville area, so
Okay.
it was only a 6-hour drive for me, so I was down.
Just don't give your address. The
No,
people will
no.
find you.
Oh yeah, they will.
So yeah, we're some East Coast boys over here. We got chains over there in Texas, but yeah. So Chris, tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of how you got into mining, and I'll start with where people can find you at, because I think I gave your Twitter handle, but I want to make sure that I got it right. So
Yeah, so I'm at Crypto Chris W on Twitter. You can find me there. Most of the time, I spend my time on my Proof of Walken Discord, which has been growing steadily. So everybody that says mining's dead, it's not, because I'm gaining about 100 people every 4 days. So those are the main two places. And then Hash Rate, my podcast, and then we're also starting to create content through there too. So
how is the podcast going for you?
pretty well. I mean, it's rough because, I mean, you guys know mining is super niche. So, I mean, for being a mining centered podcast, it's doing pretty well. We've gotten some pretty big guests on. So my community loves it. So that's why we're going to keep doing it, keep trying to bring in new miners.
That's awesome. I'm sure you'll see as the sentiment keeps continuing to grow and you get more people into the space. Obviously, mining it's interesting, and how it's pretty much running the whole operation behind the show. You'll get some more people in there, and I'm sure it will be something that becomes more than what it is right now shortly.
I mean, if not, we have fun making it. So whatever, as long as people listen, we have fun.
We have fun. Podcasts are fun.
That's the most important.
Just get together with your friends and talk. And I know you're talking about a niche audience, and imagine how niche our audience is. Men that are into crypto that aren't nerds. It's like we have the smallest niche ever. So, but there's some guys out there that like football and crypto, I swear. But yeah, so that's definitely been cool. I mean, I remember when you first, started kind of getting a little bigger on Twitter, and then you passed me, and it made me really angry. And then now I have no chance to ever pass you again. So not that I keep up with those content, but just because you did a giveaway for a $200 piece of mining equipment, and then all of a sudden now you're big Crypto Christopher Walken on campus, right? Isn't that how it went pretty much? Let's be honest.
I mean, I think I only gained like 600 followers off that giveaway. So.
Oh no, it was like 1,500, bro. You passed 10,000 on that one, I think. I think you did.
Maybe, but I mean, the other 12,000 people then from elsewhere. So.
Yeah, I know. You definitely. You know what? Here's the thing. When it comes to Twitter, like what I found is that while there's certain niches, right, mining or trading or whatever it might be, like for me, somebody who does more like general crypto news, like it would appear as like I have a bigger net, However, those niche followings grow much faster, in my opinion. So I think your podcast will, probably experience that and, do very well. Because like if you like the whole thing is how much value are you adding? Like for me, I do crypto news. So I'm adding some value. I'm doing some investigative stuff. But at the end of the day, people want to know what is the most important thing to people? Making money, right? So whether it's mining or whether it's trading advice or whatever it is, like, those are going to be some places that people go to value. And there are, I would say, almost nobody that I can think of offhand in the mining world that adds more value than you do. And I know how hard you work, in your Telegram group, helping people, on a one-on-one basis. And, even people that are sometimes resistant and, definitely sometimes don't appreciate the help you give. I still know you go out of your way to help them. And I think that's really big in the community,
Yeah, there's a lot of people that get upset because we have a joke in the Discord about spoon feeding people. And my whole thing is like, when we first started, we didn't have any groups like this to get into mining. So now I have a place to where basically all you have to do is go through my repository, and it's got all the links, it's got everything, to where I've had people join the Discord and they literally said nothing, they'll go to the miner repository, and then like 2 weeks later, they'll post pictures of the rig like, hey, did this all by myself, went through your miner repository, thanks. But then you have the other people that feel entitled. They come in, they don't check anything. They just start asking us questions that can be Googled. So yeah, it's, I don't know. There's growing pains, definitely. It's only going to get worse as adoption grows. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's true. I'd be the guy that comes in there and say, "Hey, can you just come to my house and build this for me?" I don't even know how, like, growing up, like I didn't build computers, like, I didn't do anything like that. So I don't know how to put any of that stuff together, but I would love. I'm getting ready to move. And I think when I move, I would like to set up a mining rig, and I'm here in Texas. And if I could incorporate solar into it, I would do that.
Well, and Texas power isn't that expensive either. It's got some of the lower rates in the country because I got a lot of friends that live out in Texas that are mining. So your electricity rate might be good enough to do it. So
nice.
Well, let me ask you, because that is something I've wondered about is solar electricity, because solar is expensive to install, but if you happen to get lucky and move into a house that already has it, or, you have some source for solar energy, I mean, that's considerably cheaper than regular electricity. So is that a technique that people use to kind of make money with mining?
yeah, I think in the beginning, a lot of people use solar. I think it's slowly starting to play out because people are realizing it takes a long time to ROI it depending on how much solar and how much it costs. So a lot of people are starting to go more towards hydro or just trying to set up remote locations, stuff like that. But I mean, the price of solar has gone down a lot. And if you live in an area that's very sunny, it works. But if you're in an area that doesn't get a lot of sun, then it's not going to play out very well for you.
Here's looking at you, Seattle.
Yeah.
Wouldn't
Right.
be setting up any solar stuff there.
No.
You can use it like twice a year.
Yeah, well, they say that, like I live in Atlanta, and Atlanta actually, I believe, per year gets more rain than Seattle. But Seattle is like always overcast is the only thing. It's like always misting there, they don't get, when it rains here, like it really rains. Like we get big storms, but there it's just like always kind of like, and they like Starbucks and all that stuff. I actually like Starbucks.
Oh, I know. I'll drive down 95 and all of a sudden it'll come out of nowhere and people are pulling over the side of the road because you can't see 5 feet in front of you. So
yeah,
those
Florida's
southern
crazy.
rains, man. Oof.
That's where I learned that when it rains so hard, people drive with the flashers on so that you can see the car in front of you.
Yeah, but that's worse. They say that's more dangerous though.
I think it's actually illegal too in Florida, but everybody still does it.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know. I definitely know one thing though. I don't know much about mining, and we're gonna get into that. But I kind of fall on the side of J Chains. I mean, I don't know much. I do a lot of videos. I do a lot of news. I do a lot of stuff. But like my capacity for learning new things and integrating new stuff, like I'm busy pretty much from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. Doing crypto stuff already. I just don't really have the capacity. And I know there are people out there that are like me that don't necessarily have the capacity, but feel like maybe they're missing out on an opportunity to make money. And I feel like a lot of people kind of look for shortcuts. And we've had like a lot of devices, a lot of new, technology that's came out in the mining world that can make those shortcuts a lot easier. Such as CoinMine is one that's, getting, pretty popular. People have talked about on Twitter and stuff. So I will give you the opportunity to kind of like let's dice that out. Like, is this something where you can just, plug and play and make money mining? Or is this something like if you're going to do it, you really have to just jump into it?
So I've, for people that follow me, they know my feelings on CoinMine, but I'll dive into it a little bit. So my opinion is that basically it's a great concept, right? We're trying to bring in adoption. We're trying to bring people into mining, but it's just not, it's not valuable. So it's $800, or I think it's $700 right now. They gave a discount, something like that. But the GPU that's in it is a RX 580, which is a 3-year-old card. And on the used market, you can probably find that card for about $80. So you have a machine that's $700 that has a graphics card that's $80. And I've done the math. I actually did like a parts list breakdown, and you can basically build something similar to a CoinMine for about $300. And you would ROI it 3 times faster. So I haven't done the math lately. I think the last time I did a CoinMine at 10 cents kilowatt hour, you'll ROI in like 4 or 5 years, something like that. And that's if the card even lasts that long. And that's, I mean, depending on the hash rate and everything, I mean, that card could go obsolete. So I don't know. I mean, if you're going to take a shortcut, those are basically the people that I tell, I mean, you might as well just buy Bitcoin. Like if you don't have the time, or the patience, you're better off taking that $700, buy some Bitcoin or Ethereum, something like that, and just sit on it and wait, because you're not even going to make that much back in a year.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's something I've heard before about, certain miners and things like that, that it would be just more beneficial to, buy the crypto instead of having it. So, that's not the, did I say having it? We'll talk about the having here in a few minutes. But before we get there and we talk about how that's going to send the Bitcoin price up to $17 million or whatever it's supposed to do.
Hell yeah, pump it, bro, pump it.
Pop it. Yeah. So before we get there, though, let's talk about some other things. So I was recently given an opportunity. And before I even get into it, ultimately I turned it down. Some other, crypto influencers have taken this, have done it, and they're doing well with it. But it's something that I'm personally I just decided I'm not going to do. It's another one of those things that is a shortcut, right? So instead of having the miner at your house, putting it together, running it on the electricity, it's not necessarily cloud mining, but it's like rental space of miners, right? And so apparently there is a huge mining facility somewhere in the world. They offered to send me out there to see it with my own eyes. And then they wanted me to basically white label it and sell it through my channel as this is BitBoy's mining website, And, even if I went up there and saw it with my own eyes, that still doesn't mean that they couldn't exit scam, And then I just feel like it was something even if it's legitimate, even if the entire mining operation is legitimate, I feel like there's so much opportunity for an exit scam and so much opportunity for, scams in general regarding kind of that kind of area of mining that for me, I felt like even if it was okay, it would send the wrong message to people. They'd be like, oh, it's just okay to go buy miners from any random person and do this, especially since I don't know anything about mining. It's Floyd Mayweather selling crypto. What does he know about it, But what is your opinion on those kind of operations, basically renting a miner? Or I think it's you buy a miner and they keep it. They will send it to you if you want it, but the power in wherever it is so much cheaper that you basically lease a spot in their mining facility. So do you know much about that? And what do you think? Do you think those are scams, or kind of what's your opinions?
So I thought you were going down a different path for a minute. So that's co-location. So co-location is a little bit different than cloud mining.
Right.
Co-location, you actually do own the equipment. And there's a lot of variables. So for people that live in, Europe or California, places that have 25 to 30 cent kilowatt hour power, it's just not feasible to mine at your house. So, depending on how much you pay for the miner, which is huge, because one issue with those co-location spaces is because they're building it, they're setting it up, all that stuff, you could get upcharged 100%, right? So your miner that would cost you $2,000 to build, you're paying $4,000, right? And then you're also paying for the co-location space every month. You do get a cheaper rate, but I'll just throw this out there to be honest, most of these places are getting the power for cheaper, and they're upcharging and basically putting their maintenance fees, everything else into that kilowatt hour rate. So all I can say to people is there are a lot of legitimate co-location spaces out there, but just do your own research and weigh your options. Basically, if you can get a better option would actually be to build miners yourself and ship them there. So if your co-location space that you find has that ability, or even if you want to just buy ASICs, right? Because that would work. Buy ASICs, put them in a co-location space and let them run. So, but yeah, okay. There's a lot of co-location spaces out there that might be not so known or seem too good to be true. They probably are.
But you think this is a legitimate thing? There are legitimate places. You may be getting upcharged, but if you were looking for a shortcut, that could be a way to do it.
Yeah, because like I said, if you can get a miner for a decent price and just weigh it out. If your electricity is 30 cents kilowatt hour and they're going to charge you 7 cents kilowatt hour, well, that's almost a quarter of the price. So then it would actually be worth it if you want to get skin in the game and start mining.
So if you wanted to build your own mine, what are the minimum pieces or parts that you would need besides a computer?
A brain.
Right. Yeah, a brain, some research. Cool. No. So what I tell people is if they're really nervous about spending a lot of money on a mining rig, just start small, right? So I know everybody by now knows about Honey Miner, right? If you want to just play with mining, you can get your laptop, throw Honey Miner on there, play around with it. If you want to go up one, if you have a gaming PC that has a GPU, you could throw Honey Miner on it, nice hash. You can download your own mining software. You know, there's that ability. I mean, you can learn a lot just off of a gaming PC because you can install a miner on it. You can download Afterburner, which is your overclocking software. So then you're kind of learning like, hey, how can I stress this card? What's this card doing? You know, stuff like that. And then once you learn, if you really want to go in on it, then you can go to like a 3-card rig or a 6-card rig, stuff like that. It's just there's so much to it. Another big thing is prices, right? So
If you could just go ahead and break down the whole thing, just tell, like, I want to have a mining rig. We got about probably 10 or 15 minutes left. I want one running by the time we get done. Is that cool? Is that cool? Or it's either that or I'm calling Coin Miner. That's it. It's one or the other.
Oh man,
Go ahead.
that's cool.
Sorry, talk about price. I
Bruh.
got to insert my jokes here. I mean, that was serious.
All right. So the biggest thing is the price of your equipment, right? That's going to factor heavily into your return on investment. So I know there's a lot of new people that come in and they're worried about buying used parts. Basically, what I tell people is just make sure whoever you're buying from has a reputation, right? If you go on eBay, make sure they have a good rating, stuff like that, because you can end up, if you buy a new card, like we'll go back to that RX 580, right? That good old CoinMine has. If you were to buy it brand new, it's about 180 bucks. You can go on eBay and find it for 80. So you just cut your ROI in half buying those cards. And it's the same thing. I mean, you got to go off of how much your wattage is or how much your kilowatt hour is. So if you have cheaper kilowatt hour, you can get a beefier card, like something like a 2080, something that consumes a lot of power but has high hash rate. So there's a lot of factors to it. But I mean, it really doesn't take a lot to start. You can spend $500, have a 3-card rig running, and play around with it.
That's cool. Now, do you see a specific life expectancy on some of these used cards? I mean, is it pretty much, if you're going to go the used route, really just so you can figure out what you're doing, and then once you kind of get the hang of it, then you switch over to something new?
Well, again, it kind of depends. So I normally shoot for used cards just because they're cheaper. I mean, sometimes you can find crazy deals. There's websites that'll, like I just bought a RX20 or RTX 2080 for $500. It's normally a $700 card, brand new, just because I got lucky and found it. But for used cards, I mean, there's some misconceptions with mining. As long as you take care of the cards, you keep them cool, you keep them clean. I mean, mining's actually better on cards than long-term gaming, because you're undervolting them, so you're using less wattage than you normally would for gaming. You're underclocking the clocks on them, so you actually take better care of them. And what I tell people when they get used cards is, I mean, you can take them apart, you can replace fans, you can clean them, you can pull the heat sink, you can put on new thermal paste, and it's basically a brand new card again.
Shoot, that's Spanish.
You threw out some fancy words there, man.
There's nothing worse than underclocking a clock, I tell you what. Let me tell you, that's not good. Don't want to paste that RX-8 Mazda.
Sir, was that Chinese? I don't know what you just said.
I don't know what that was. I don't know. Is that Mandarin? I'm confused. Maybe Justin's son would know. Maybe I could ask him.
Sounded really good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, right here, we just got into it. Like, that's the nerd line. Like, we passed the nerd line, Like, in baseball, they got the Mendoza line. In crypto, we got the nerd line. And I'm looking up, like, what are you doing up there? So
I'm drowning in nerd.
So that's cool, though, man. But you know what? I did get something useful out of that. Basically, what you're saying is that it's less stress on a video card to mine than it is to play video games. That's the long and the short of it, right?
Yeah, it is. So that's why
I got that part. Okay. I got that part. I'm picking up what you're putting down, and I'm looking it up in the dictionary. So, well, cool. Okay, so that's what it takes to get started. Now let's move on to one thing I got to ask you about is the halvening. I call it halvening. I do not like calling it halving, because halving is already a word. Like, hey, I'm having a steak for dinner.
A cheese steak.
A cheese. Do we both want steak? That's perfect. I love it. Okay. But, people call it either one, having or having. So yesterday I was doing some research for a video, and I wasn't sure exactly how the timing of it went, but it's every 4 years, but it's not exactly 4 years, correct?
Yeah, it all depends on the hash rate and difficulty, stuff like that. So, I mean, as hash rate grows, the halvening cycle shrinks. So.
Yeah. So I think the last one was like 3 years and 11 months, and then this one's 3 years and 10 months. So, because I think the last one, the first one's maybe in like November, and then the next one's in August, and the next one's supposed to be at the end of May, whatever it is. Am I kind of close there?
Yeah, because as efficiency grows on these ASICs, the hash rate just keeps going ridiculous.
Yeah. And now, well, here's a question about that before we get talking about the price and how that affects price. Um, the estimate is that all Bitcoins will be mined by 2140. Now, of course, that's to say that Bitcoin will be around for that long, which I'm not sure that it will, right? I mean, crypto and even if it replaces the dollar and it replaces everything, like 120 years in the future, like who knows what we might be back to living like cavemen. You might be an asteroid. Who knows, right? But if in fact, it stays around long enough for all the Bitcoins to be mined, is there a way in your mind that you could see that actually they could all be mined much faster than that? Like, and by much faster, I mean like maybe 10 years faster or 20 years faster. Do you feel like that kind of year is almost set in stone?
I could definitely see it being sooner. I mean, not a lot sooner, but I mean, so we'll break down the ASIC technology really quick. I'll try to keep it lower, but so we'll just say that I don't want to try to blow up nerddom again, right? So I'll just throw numbers on it. So the S9 was released 18 months ago, and it was 14.5 terahash, right? So fast forward 18 months ahead, you now have the M20S, which hashes at 70 terahash. So you've basically, 4 or 5x your hash rate
5x,
in 18 months time. And not only that, it consumes less power. So if we can keep seeing substantial growth like that, I mean, 10 years from now, you could see ASICs pulling 300-400 terahash on one ASIC. So,
however, the block rewards will be much, much lower.
Yes.
Right. So that doesn't mean that you're going to be making a ton more money or anything like that. So that's, well, you're the expert. Give us the quick rundown of exactly what the halvening, or some call it the halving, is.
All right. So the halvening is basically breaking the block reward in half, right? So it's 12.5 right now. And then when the halvening happens, it'll go down to 6.25. And then the next one will be 3.1, whatever, every 4 years. So basically you're getting half the reward for mining. So what I've told people is we're either going to need the price of Bitcoin to go up or maintain, or you're going to see a substantial drop in hash rate solely based on electricity prices, like I brought up before. You know, the biggest thing with mining right now is the war on power, and everybody's trying to find the cheapest electricity. So I think I did the math a few weeks ago, and if you have 2-cent kilowatt hour, which is out there, you go to China, stuff like that, I think the break-even price for Bitcoin is like $1,500. So I know people gave that whole like 6K Bitcoin, whatever last year. It was total BS. So it's all dependent on your kilowatt hour. So you could see, like, if we went down to like 6K, people that are sitting at 9-8 cents kilowatt hour, they might have to shut their rigs down. So we'll see what happens. I'm pretty excited. I mean, I definitely think the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. So, I mean, we saw what happened with Litecoin. That shit went crazy.
Yeah, it did. So what affects the kilowatt hour? I mean, is it just purely where you live? Is it your environment? Is it just regulation in your area? Do you have any idea what actually causes that spike in price or that change in price?
Yeah, so most people, you know, if you're just mining in your house, you're on normal residential power. So it's whatever's contracted out to the city for your power rate. So for me, where I'm at in Florida, it's 9 cents. You know, there's other people that are like 6, 7, whatever. But these farms, they end up getting contracts with the city, government, stuff like that. You can get a contract with power companies, hydro plants, things like that. So if they end up getting these contracts, and if you hit a certain kilowatt, which we're talking like megawatts of power, you can get a cheaper rate. So I know people that are running like 1-2 megawatt facilities, and they're getting 3-4 cents. And then you've got the people that are running 100 megawatt facilities in China, and they're getting 1.5-2 cents. So the more power you use, the cheaper it is.
So, all right. So all seriousness, this may be a joke, but what's the difference between a megawatt and a gigawatt?
Well,
is that not Jay-Z's new mining company?
No, man. Back to the Future, 1.21 gigawatts.
One of the best movies of all time.
I mean, that's what it takes to run that flux capacitor.
Yeah. Well, I always laugh
I
because
wish I could go back to the future and miss that joke.
you're gonna have to insert a drum roll right there in the podcast.
I didn't even know that was from that. I just thought gigawatt was something Jay-Z said. That's all I thought. I didn't know.
No, it's
So,
it's gigawatt, but they called it gigawatt in the movie.
now I get the joke. Now it's kind of funny. Thanks, guys, for explaining that to me. I've explained my jokes to people sometimes, so now I know what it feels like. It doesn't feel good. So, okay, so let's get back to the price of the halvening and whatnot. So you said Litecoin. Now, when exactly the halvening of Litecoin has not actually happened yet, has it?
No, I want to say it's in 4 days. I think.
Oh, it's very soon, right?
Yeah, it's very soon.
So I was actually talking about this when I was in San Francisco recently with on an interview with someone else, and I realized I don't really understand exactly the relationship between. I don't understand the historical relationship between the halvening and the price, like in terms of it goes up leading up, and then it does something, and then it goes up. Like what do we traditionally see? Let's say 6 months up to the halvening, and then what does the next year look like in general? I know this is super generalized, but I think we've seen it now with Bitcoin and Litecoin. We've kind of seen the same thing. So can you kind of break that down for people?
So there's normally always a run up before the halvening, right? It's just people trying to load up, trying to make sure their profitability is up, because you do have miners that are mining it and buying it at the same time, trying to buffer the price. And then once the halvening happens, you will see a drop in hash rate. There's definitely going to be a drop in hash rate with Litecoin, I will say right now, when that halvening happens, because there's a lot of people mining Litecoin, and it's really not that profitable. I think the last time I looked, it's around like 6 or 7 cents kilowatt hour. You're break even right now. And there's new Litecoin miners coming out soon, the L5s. But yeah, so the hash rate will drop off, then you'll probably see the price drop off a little bit. And then everything will kind of stagnate, and then you'll slowly see the price start to trickle back up. And then you'll see the hash rate follow it, because, price always precedes hash rate. Like I tell people, price goes up, profitability goes up, people turn their miners back on. So then you'll probably see a spike. So I don't know. I'm looking at Litecoin. Litecoin might dip a little bit after this. I know it dropped substantially. It was like $140, and now it's sitting at like 99 today or something like that. So I could definitely see
it here first. Short Litecoin this weekend. Right?
Well, this is not financial advice.
Not financial advice.
That's him talking, not us. He's giving the advice right here.
I'm just a shitcoin miner. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Chris, so you said that this new miner that's coming out, I think you said the L5, is that specific for Litecoin? So then does that mean that there are specific cards for specific coins or tokens?
Well, yeah. So ASIC-wise, ASICs are built for one algorithm, right? So all the Bitcoin ASICs are SHA-256. So technically, they can mine anything SHA-256. So Bitcoin.
I always thought it was SHA.
Shay, I don't know, whatever.
I like Shay. Shay sounds better. You're probably right. I just was going off of just what I read,
But yeah, so you can mine Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, that other Bitcoin, the other Bitcoin, the other Bitcoin. So you have, and then you have your Zcash miners, your Z11, so they can mine all the Zcash algos, stuff like that. But yeah, an ASIC is made to mine one algorithm. So the L3s and L5s, they're made to mine Litecoin.
Gotcha.
How many coins are you mining right now?
I'm actually only pointing at 2 right now. I'm on a spec play, and then I've got my AMD rigs on a nice hash ET hash just to stack Bitcoin and buy other shitcoins.
Okay. So you are mining Bitcoin right now. So when you say spec, like you're something, because something I've noticed when I've been following you and paying attention, some to I like you. I may not love mining, but I like you. Okay. You seem to a lot of times be jumping on coins that I haven't heard of, and then down the road, all of a sudden, they're on my radar, and I'm like, oh yeah, he mentioned that one a while ago. He was mining. I saw it with Grin, and I guess Beam as well. Maybe one of them's not doing great, but I think Grin's doing pretty good at least, right?
Yeah, Beam did too. Beam ran up a 5x. So
yeah, it did. I think it stagnated a little bit, right? Or no? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, it's down to like 90 cents now. It hit like 220 from 40 cents. Yeah. So how are you finding these new coins to mine? First of all, and second of all, like what are you doing? Are you just like putting a bunch of them together and then wait until the price spikes and then you're getting out of them, or are you kind of holding on to those long term? Kind of what is your plan when it comes to the speculative mining? Because I feel like for me personally, like if I were to want to get into mining, like that's the route I would want to go, because I feel like there's probably more upside,
for something getting a 5x, 10x, than like slowly grinding away at mining Bitcoin.
Yeah, there's a lot of upside, but there's a lot of downside too. Because I've joked around before that I have a QT wallet graveyard on my laptop that has probably about 100 coins that are DOA. But my whole thing is just I've over the years I've gotten really good at FA. So I don't know. I actually have a website in my Discord that aggregates all the Bitcoin Talk announcements. Because if you've gone on Bitcoin Talk announcements, it's a complete mess. Because you have proof of work coins mixed with ICOs and airdrops and everything. So trying to find the coins are very difficult. But there's a lot of indicators. So the first thing is the Bitcoin Talk announcement itself. If it's very ugly or if there's not much information, a lot of times I'll just pass on it. If it's very well put together, if there's a roadmap, it's already got pools, stuff like that, I'll take a deeper look at it. I'll look at the white paper. I'll look at the team, things like that. I'll look at who's involved. Another good indicator is go on their Twitter account and see who's following them. So if you see a couple of known miners following them, you might want to check that coin out. But as for holding, selling, to me, it's basically on the project. I'm very big on privacy coins. I'm very big on new technology, that's why, Beam and Grim, both being Mimblewimble, they were very popular. So to me, those were two of the easiest spec plays of all time, probably since like Ethereum, right? They were.
God, I wish I was mining those at that time. Like those turned out to be pretty good. I had the opportunity to. I just turned it down because I'm
and the funniest part was everybody was trying to FUD the hell out of Grin because when it launched, a lot of people didn't realize the inflation on it, and they were buying it up.
It never ends.
Oh God, they were buying it like $35 all the way down, and most of us were mining it the whole time, selling it all the way down for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then it stagnated for a while. And then I started telling everybody when it was under $2, I was like, start loading up. And then I think about 3 months later, it went off to like 650 or something like that. Yeah. But it was the same thing for Beam. But that's a big thing. And if it's a coin that I think is just gonna kind of maybe gain popularity and pump, then I'll just sell it off. But a lot of times I'll basically just take enough profit to pay for my electricity that I used on the mining rig and then just hold the rest.
Gotcha. Sounds like a solid strategy. Well, I would love to ask you many, many more questions, but we are out of time. This was very interesting. I feel like we could have probably done this interview for another hour.
Probably.
Yeah, I can go on about mining for a long time. People normally have to stop me.
I'll have to do it again. It'll be a part two.
Yeah, definitely.
Nerd mining part 2. We need to trademark coin mining or nerd mining, not coin mining, nerd mining. I mean, I heard Lolly was trying to, which I love Lolly. I did a review on this. Review coming up, but they tried to trademark stacking stats. I will say it right. I swear to God, I will say it right. Stacking sats. Okay. Okay. Striking Vipers X expansion pack. Listen. Okay. I'm going to trademark nerd mining. Okay. And I'm going to come up with a website called Nerd Mining. And it's basically just going to be me interviewing Crypto Christopher Walken and telling him what to do and be like, check out this nerd here. He's got this. So, but yeah, so it's definitely very interesting. And I don't know, out of this conversation, like, who knows? Maybe I'll start mining. I mean, once you said it, can you forget it?
With the honey miner I have.
Yeah, with the honey miner, but with a real rig, like, can you set it? Like, you work hard to get it working right, but then once it's working right, you can kind of be like, all right, just run. Or does it require daily maintenance? I guess that's a good question. I think a lot of beginners, including myself, would want to know.
I mean, if your rig's stable, you can just let it go. I mean, I like to tweak because I like to try to get more and more hash rate and less wattage out of my cards. So I'm always messing with them. But I mean, unless there's some update that pops up in Hive OS, I just let my rigs go and they do their thing. They're super stable, especially on Linux. Get off of Windows, people. Windows sucks. Mine on Linux.
Yeah. Well, I would never suggest anyone to get a Windows computer by any stretch of the imagination, but I just use Macs. So, but if I'm going to mine, I need to get a Linux, apparently. That's what I just heard. So listen, let's do this. Between now and the next interview we do with you, me and Jay Chains, we're going to get a rig together. Let's do it. Now, we may never interview you again, okay? We may never, okay? But if we do, you need to know we're going to have a rig running, okay? So it's kind of like,
that's our commitment to you.
Text you, what?
Well, I will say if you're in the Atlanta area, I'm not that far from you.
That's true. Are in the Jacksonville area, so I could fly you up to Atlanta and have you set it up for me, right? That's what you're saying? Like you want to do it for people so they don't ever have to learn anything or do anything or
oh no, people need to learn it. People need to learn.
You're gonna come up here and you're gonna set it up so that I never make any money, and I'm gonna call you and be like, "What's the deal, Chris?" And you're gonna be like, "That's what you get for calling me a nerd, son."
Just sucks electricity. You're just paying like $100 in electricity every month.
And you've been mining to my wallet. No.
That's right. That's right. Well, cool.
Thanks, BitBoy.
Well, that's all we got. We ran over on time, but that's okay. I had a ton of questions. We will try to have you, on the show again, and we'll talk about our new mining rigs. But thank you so much for joining us. It's been very informative. It's been the greatest nerd mining extravaganza we've ever had. Once again, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah, so Crypto Christopher Walken on Twitter at Crypto Chris W. I've got my Discord, Proof of Walken. The link's in my Twitter. Like I said, you can follow Hashrate and Hashrate Podcast and get your daily or your weekly nerd mining podcast dosage. So there you go.
Nice. We'll link all that stuff down in the description of the podcast so people can figure that out and find you.
Yeah, and if you ever want to do an episode on your podcast where you talk about barbecue, hit us up. Okay. We'll make sure to come through. Okay.
We've actually talked about doing a Beards, Bitcoin, and Hashrate, so we'll have to make that work.
Yeah, let's do it. That sounds great. That definitely sounds great to me. We'll definitely do it as long as they know I'm not a nerd. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Beards and Bitcoins. We will talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Later.
Man, that was such a great and informative episode with Crypto Christopher Walken. Really enjoyed talking to him. You guys may not know this, but a lot of times when I'm doing these interviews, I'm information fishing for myself because there's stuff out there that I want to know that, in areas where I'm not an expert. So I love the opportunity to get to talk to somebody like Crypto Christopher Walken that knows exactly what he's talking about. Make sure you guys follow him on Twitter at CryptoChrisW. Also, guys, thank you so much to Monarch for sponsoring the show. That's monarchtoken.io, a great on-ramp for crypto. Just remember, not your keys, not your crypto. Monarch can help you keep your crypto safe. So that's it for today, guys. We will talk to you guys later. BitBoy out.